Okay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our farewell season of virtual tours. You don't have to be sad, though. We have lots of videos on our YouTube channel. If you have not watched all the tours and the Q&A sessions, please check those out. And in good news, we are moving to in-person events, which is very exciting. So stay tuned for some more information about our spring events coming up. Today, we are joined by Michael, who works for Alko Hotel Management. So, Michael, welcome. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And can you tell me a little bit more about your role and what you do for Alko Hotel Management?
I am the general manager for the True by Hilton in Eugene, over by the University of Oregon.
Okay.
A fairly new hotel. We opened up about a year and a half ago. True, everybody's familiar with Hilton, I would assume, but Hilton has 16 brands now, different brands. You have Hilton and DoubleTrees and Hampton Inns and things like that. And True is the newest brand that Hilton has, and they developed it about 3 years ago. And there's currently 200 Trues in the country. We were the first in the Pacific Northwest. There's another couple hundred Trues going to open in the next year or so. So it's it's the fastest growing brand within Hilton. And maybe a lot of them, maybe a lot of people aren't aware of them just yet, but it's a fun little brand, and it's going to be really be growing a lot.
Can you tell me what makes True different from some of the other Hiltons? Like, would somebody notice if they came into your particular hotel that it was slightly different from some of the other Hiltons that they've been to?
Yes. So everybody thinks of it. We started with Hilton, which now tend to be these major, large, we call big box hotels, very elegant hotels, and they're now only mostly in metropolitan cities. Now, there used to be a Hilton even here in Eugene. There's not anymore, because this is not the type of city that Hilton wants to be in. Hilton wants just to be in major metropolitan areas. Then you have like the DoubleTree brand, which is kind of just very similar to Hilton, maybe just a slightly little step down from Hilton. And then we have all these other niche market type hotels where you have a Hampton Inn or an Embassy Suites, the suite property, things like that. The home to Hilton Suites is another brand that's here in Eugene. And then this True property, and it's kind of it's designed to be more of an economical brand within Hilton. So you go to Hilton, and you say Hilton, most people go, oh, there's, depending upon the city you're in, it's $200 to $500 a night, right? And so this is a little more. It's small. They're all smaller. Most of them are less than 100 rooms in size. Very limited service, but it's very. What Hilton did with this brand was they said, okay, there's a lot of limited service brands out there, but we want to be, how are we going to differentiate ourselves? And that is, we're going to have a bigger lobby, try and do some more services, and have more fun at this level than you would expect in a traditional limited service hotel or even from some Hiltons.
Okay. And when you say fun, is there like a specific thing that you do that's special, or just in terms of how the hotel looks? And
we're a very colorful hotel. If you haven't had a chance to see us, or you can see us online, it's a lot of bright colors, oranges and blues and yellows, and we have a pool table right in the middle of the lobby, which you wouldn't see in a traditional Hilton hotel probably. We're just about, kind of, as I said, for a hotel our size, the lobby is larger. The idea is that people come get out of their rooms when we're not in COVID and all supposed to stay away from each other.
Right.
Come down to the lobby and socialize. We have a market in the lobby, and beer, wine, sodas, snacks, and each place within our lobby is kind of a little segmented. We have like a little business area where you have little pods where you can sit down and read a book, or work on your laptop, or just have a glass of wine by yourself, or then there's another area where it's more socialization, big screen TVs and big couches and the pool table and things like that. Then there's a couple breakfast area and a dining area. So it's kind of segmented for, depends upon what you're looking for when you come into the hotel, and you can probably find it in a true. We're kind of, many people say, oh, you're the millennial brand, which is, it certainly does appeal to the millennials. I think it's more of the young at heart.
Nice.
Like our brand. It's not for everybody. If you're looking for crystal chandeliers, and it's not us, but it's a very fun, clean, friendly brand.
Great. So you said that you're the general manager. Can you talk a little bit about what you do, either day to day or quarter to quarter, however that works?
Well, like the name implies, I tell people I'm not the specific manager, I'm the general. Okay. I have to know how to do everything, and from time to time I will do this job or that job, but my job is to generally manage the entire hotel and try and keep us going in the right direction, looking forward to the future, trying to look down the road, make sure the hotel is filled up with guests, that we're adequately staffed and ready for them, and the hotel is clean. And so you're just kind of looking down, trying to stay a couple of steps ahead and manage the future, make sure your hotel always has some heads in beds, as we say, and that we're going to meet or exceed everybody's expectations when they come to the hotel.
So how did you wind up as the general manager? Have you worked in hotels before this, or is this something you came to with an advanced degree? How did that happen for you?
Well, yes to all of that. No. I started working in the hotel business really in earnest. Well, I started working in the hotel business when I was 13, but really when I was 16, I got my first real hotel job as a summer job, and I've never done anything else since. I've worked all over the country, but as I say, started out as a dishwasher and a busboy and a waiter. This nice smallish hotel that had a golf course in Arizona, in Phoenix, Arizona, and they asked me to, spend more time there. I guess they kept offering me different positions within the hotel. Hopefully because I was doing a good job, not because they needed to get me out of that job that I was doing. But and then I got to the front desk. And the front desk, that's really when I said, this is great. This is what I love. I mean, it was one thing to wash dishes and bus tables and be a server and a cook and all that stuff. But the front desk, you kind of got to see the whole hotel. And that's really when I decided I like this hotel business. And from there, I did night audit, and which is a kind of an overnight shift through high school. Even I worked my way through, graduated high school, went to college at the University of Houston, which has the Hilton College of Hotel and Restaurant Management, and got a degree in hotel and restaurant management. It just happens to be called the Hilton College because he gave him the first $10 million, 30 years ago to, and now probably 50 years ago to get it going. And so it didn't back when there have an affiliation really with Hilton, other than it had his name on it. But now the hotel there is actually a Hilton hotel. But I worked my way through college at various hotels. And then upon graduation, I was interviewed with corporations came to the college, and I interviewed with them, and I happened to get hired on the Hilton Management Training Program. Again, kind of a coincidence. Didn't specifically try for Hilton. I mean, I wanted to be with Hilton, but just because I was going to the Hilton College, Marriott interviewed there, and Holiday Inn and all the big companies did. But I got on with them and really spent the next 35 years with Hilton, crisscrossing the country. I was in Chicago for a couple times, big hotel, 1,800 room hotel, the Palmer House in Chicago, and was front office manager there. And then Washington, D.C. I was Palmer House, Chicago, got sent to Washington, D.C. They sent me back to Chicago. From Chicago, I went out to a suburb of Chicago called Skokie and was there for 6 years. Started out as a assistant general manager and then eventually worked my way up to general manager position there. That was my first general manager job. And then I was there for about 7 years and then left there to went to Central Illinois in Springfield, state capital. And with the idea that I was going to go for a couple of years and be a general manager of that hotel. And then I stayed 20 years at that hotel as general manager, which is kind of a long time in the hotel business. General managers generally don't do that, but I was looking for a good place to raise my family, and that was a nice town and great. Had 3 daughters and raised them there. And then so when they finally got out of high school, I said, I want to go someplace else. I want to go to the Pacific Northwest.
Mm-hmm.
The only place I hadn't lived in my life. As I said, I grew up in a hotel family. My father was a general manager.
Okay.
So lived in hotels and moved around, saw all the hotels he was in. My mother was in the hotel business. His father was in the hotel business. My wife is in the hotel business. Now one of my daughters is in the hotel business. So kind of a hotel family. After 20 years in Springfield, Illinois, I decided I wanted to go Pacific Northwest and went to Spokane, Washington for the Red Lion Hotels Corporation and was there for 4 years, general manager of a big hotel downtown there, and until they sold that. And then a friend of mine, a former employee who I'd worked with, had hired her. She was now vice president of a hotel company and asked me to come to Eugene to the Valley River Inn Hotel. And so with the idea that the company that owned that was going to fix it up and spend millions of dollars on it. And so I did, came here, bought a house, and then 9 months later, the hotel got sold. Actually, the company that owned it owned like 40, 50 hotels, but they had a portfolio of 8 hotels and they sold all 8 hotels at once with one individual. So the management company that I was with at that time had a hotel in San Francisco, and they said, would you like to go manage this hotel on Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco? So I went there for 2 or 3 years until COVID hit. And then we closed that hotel and ended up closing for 1.5 years because of COVID, because that hotel is predominantly international travelers. Probably 70% of our business was international travelers, and national travelers were coming into the United States. So I decided to come back here to Eugene, where I still had my home, and found this job with Alko Hotels. So that's my story in 500 words or less.
That's great. So in terms of working in management for a hotel, would you say that having an advanced degree, some kind of college, is required?
No, not at all. That's the great thing about this business. I mean, it's a way, it's one way of doing it.
Okay.
What I did is I went 3 years to college and got recruited by Hilton and got onto their management training program. And so that is a way of doing it. But if I had spent 4 years just working in a hotel, probably I would have been about the same place without the degree. Maybe it's hard to say. You never know, of course.
Yeah.
But it certainly is. It is helpful, I think. I mean, college teaches you a lot of things that you just not necessarily about the hotel business, but just things you need to know, reading and writing and business skills. So things you can acquire in a variety of different ways. So there isn't really one way to do this. The great thing about this industry is, I think that's the great thing about it, is that you can start at the bottom and work your way to the top. You know, my father, as I said, was in a hotel business, general manager for 25, 30 years. He started out as a bellman. And I started out as a dishwasher. And this industry is full of stories like that. If you just like to come, if you just like this business, if you like people, if you like the craziness of this, and everything is different, if you then there's great opportunities, and there's so many different avenues within the hotels that you can go. You don't have to be a general manager to be successful. Certainly,
Sure.
a lot of great jobs, great positions that people have been in for years and love, and don't have to have the full responsibility of the hotel, but maybe just their department.
Right. So what is the best part about your job?
I think the best part about it is just what I just said, is that every day is different. There no 2 days are the same. And you're not like, oh, today's Tuesday and we're just going to do this, and tomorrow's the next, more of the same. Every day is different. You're just can't, you just try and predict what it's going to be, but the personality of your hotel or what's going on in your hotel depends upon who's in your hotel. So if you have a bunch of kids in your hotel one day, it's a bit like being a school teacher, maybe, and then if you have a bunch of businessmen, it's something else. Or you have the American Legion, it's changes again. So, and
Right.
everybody's needs are kind of different. So it's learning to read those needs and accommodate everybody.
That's great.
So,
So
you're
let's
never
say-
you're never bored, and you never watch. I never, as general manager, I never look at my watch and go, oh, is it almost 5 o'clock? It's almost the other way around. Wow, it's already 5 o'clock. I'll have a couple hours worth of work to do. So.
That's great. That's great. So if there's a student in high school who's thinking that they're really interested in the hospitality industry, is there any kind of extracurricular or club that they could become involved in that might benefit them or be helpful for them in terms of getting hired by a hotel?
Well, you probably want to check with the hotel association, see if there's some, if your city has a hotel association. And here we don't really have one. We have the Travel Lane County. They might be able to assist, doing some type of internship or job shadowing, just to see what you might be interested in, because each hotel is different too. I mean, my hotel is kind of small, they're limited service, but then you can get into a bigger hotel that has meetings and conventions and restaurants and spas and all kinds of transportation issues that they have to deal with. So sales, catering, and restaurants and banquets, things like that. So it just depends upon the restaurant, and you need to find out what makes you excited to come to work every day.
That's great. I just had a question pop up from our audience. What kind of skills should a high school student have to come into the industry besides interpersonal skills? So obviously you'll be working with people, but are there other skills that if you're looking at someone's resume and you're really looking for top 3 skills, what might those be?
Well, it depends upon the position that you're
Okay.
applying for. It really does matter. I mean, many of the positions do require some type of use of computers, which today is almost a given that everybody has that. 25 years ago, when I was starting, we didn't. I sound like an old man now. When I started, we didn't even have computers. But you'd be surprised how many people still don't really are kind of a little scared of a computer. So it's not, you can't take it for granted, but it's more today than it used to be. But just the skill of showing up, showing up happy, showing up groomed and well dressed and ready to go and energetic, and that will take you so far in this business, because we're a 24-hour day, 7-day a week industry, and there's always something going on, and there's always somebody always something that needs to happen or being taken care of. So if you can find, if you just show up with the skill of being, you know, a go-getter, that is going to pay such dividends in this industry. There's other industries that have a lot of go-getters in it. It's all very competitive. I think here you can find what you want, and you can advance pretty quickly. And there's industry is full of stories who people just get promoted every 6 months, but you got to show up, right?
Yeah.
You got to be willing to. And we got a lot of crazy hours, and if you're willing to do that and get known for being willing to take care of your guests, you're going to succeed.
Okay, that's great. Are there any surprising jobs in the hospitality industry? I mean, I think everybody thinks of like working at the front desk and the housekeeping and in the restaurant, but are there other jobs that like wouldn't necessarily come straight to mind when you're thinking about the hospitality industry?
Again, it depends upon the hotel.
Okay.
You get into big cities and big hotels. They have, as I said, when I worked in Chicago at the Palmer House, that's an 1,800 room hotel that was over 100 years old. It's an entire city block. You have people who are, you know, job is just to do certain things in certain areas. That hotel had 5 basements, and it used to have a train tracks going through the underneath the hotel, you know, and they used to move coal between the hotels. So, but just a lot of care. You know, the bigger the hotel, the more people it needs, the more potential there are things to do. But hotels have clubs. Many hotels have, you know, either private clubs or a dance club even, or a golf club or a spa. And people don't think about those things. They tend, as you said, tend to think about the front desk, right? But concierge is a fun job in a hotel, in the right hotel, in the right city. You can trying to find movie tickets, get tickets to a theater play or a ball game for guests, and limousines and special, whatever they want, right? That's what a concierge is supposed to do, is solve their problems and figure out how to have them have a good time in the city they're in. So that's kind of a unique job that people don't think about too much anymore.
Yeah, great. And just to make a plug for Elevate, we're a program for Connected Lane County. We do job shadows and internships. So if there are students out there who are interested in the hospitality industry, we are happy to arrange those for any of you. Back to the questions. In your opinion, what's the biggest misconception about the hospitality industry? If there is one.
Well, don't think about all the potential there is, and don't understand that they think of the front desk or a couple other jobs in the business. But you can go anywhere. The good thing about the hospitality industry, short of a pandemic, there's always going to be a need for hotels, right? People are always traveling. It's never probably going to be a business that you're ever going to have to, you're going to lose your job because it's become antiquated or anything like that. People love to travel, particularly in the United States, and you can, so there's always a job available. There's always hotels everywhere you go. So if you have some skills, you can move quite rapidly, and once you've just proven that you're willing to stay on the job for a period of time, you know, I mean, hotels are looking for people. Most of these jobs require some type of training. We don't want to spend 3 months training you just to find you leaving after month 4, right? So we really are I look for people who have got, you don't have to stay at your job for years and years and years, but if you're changing jobs every 6 months, that's probably not a good sign for a potential employer. But get in, find a hotel, get some skills, and maybe the company will move you along. If not, you can make your own career. And there's just so many different ways to go. I mean, let's look at Hilton. You know, there's tens of thousands of Hiltons all over the world. You could literally, if you put a resume, you can go almost anywhere and people recognize the name, and you know you're hireable. So that, I don't think people think about how they can just transfer anywhere in the world with just based upon some experience. Because as with Hilton, most of the Hiltons use the same computer systems and things like that. So a lot of it is transferable between Hiltons all over the world.
Great point. So for those who are looking to travel, this might be a good industry to work in.
Great way to see the world.
Yeah.
Most of them have travel benefits. You can go, you're a Hilton employee or a Marriott employee, you can go stay at another Hilton or a Marriott at a greatly reduced rate and see the world.
That's fantastic. It's a great plug for working at a hotel for sure. So in a similar vein, what do you think is the best part about working either in the hospitality industry itself or in hotel management?
Again, I go back to every day is different. I enjoy that. If you're just, everything has to be the same, everything has to be black and white, the hotel business is not for you. You know, we work in grays and you just have to be able to adapt. And if you like changing, you have to be able to change and anticipate needs. And if you like taking care of people and making them happy, we're in the hospitality business, right? I just always tell people, just imagine your relative or best friend who hadn't seen in years was showing up at your doorstep. You wouldn't just, doorbell rings, you wouldn't just open the door and go, oh, hi, turn around, walk away. You'd be like, hey, welcome. You know, and that's what we have to do. We have to make everybody feel really welcome and special and enjoy their time with you. So that's what I get. I mean, last night as an example, we had a couple whose house burned down yesterday, and they literally got out of their house with their dog. The dog didn't even have a leash. The leash was in the house and burned down. That's how quickly they had to get out. They had nothing except what was on their back and their dog, and trying to take care of them, get them, you know, of course, they're very emotional about it, but getting them settled into the hotel. We went out, we got them some welcome gifts, and we got them some food, and just try to put them at ease, right? That's something like that, of course, that doesn't happen every day, but variations of things like that, just trying to take care of people and their needs and making their stay memorable and enjoyable. And if you like doing that kind of stuff and getting a smile on somebody's face, and it's very rewarding, I think.
I like that part about anticipating people's needs before maybe they don't even realize they're going to need that, but you're ready with whatever it is that they might want.
I like to tell people that my job and the hotel business is a lot like, you like football. I'm like the quarterback. You get your team together. You call in the huddle. You call a play. You get to the line, and you're ready to. And you're like, oh, we can't run this play. We're not going to do it. You call an audible, and you go, well, we're not. We were going to run it over here. We're not going to pass it over there. And that's what you have to do. And it's just a lot of fun, I think.
That's great. So, if students were interested in working at your particular hotel, where could they find job openings?
We post all our openings on Indeed.
Okay. So everybody who's listening, you can go to Indeed and search for True Hilton. Is that what it's
True
called?
by Hilton.
Okay.
True by Hilton or Alko, in our case, Alko Hotels. We have 5 hotels in the Eugene area.
Okay, fantastic. And do you know if you have any job openings currently?
Currently, I have one front desk position open. And I think all the other hotels have some either housekeeping or front desk positions as well.
Okay, great. So it sounds like something maybe that students could, if they're interested, continue to check back on, and there might be openings somewhat regularly.
I always tell people if there's not an opening, wait 5 minutes. You never know, because things change. We promote, a lot of promotions happen. We send people off from another. I'll send somebody from my hotel off to one of our other hotels to help them out. Business gets, right now we're kind of, so we're getting into the holiday season, so things are a little bit slower than we've been accustomed to. It was a very, very busy year this year with all the summer travel, plus the Olympics and a lot of the special events and the football games and things like that. So it's winding down, and we're all getting a little breather, and we're getting reorganized. But come mid-January, we're going to gear back up here, and we're going to get ready for another busy year.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Michael, for joining me today, and thanks everyone for watching. And again, this is our last tour of the season. So if you want more, please search our YouTube channel, and then we'll be seeing people in person in the spring. Bye, everyone.